Well, apparently we're live once again. I'm sitting here in Philadelphia with my great friend Brian Boland, who we thought we would just get together and let everybody know about an exciting announcement that has to do with my first solo vocal album, and it's called Many Ways Around the Sun. And today it was is the formal day of announcement that this record's going to drop July 30th. 2021. And today's little tasty treat is the title track, which has been released, Many Ways Around the Sun. And so Brian and I thought we'd just get together and kind of celebrate that idea and all the work that both of us did, and just kind of talk about the track, because the album will drop the end of July, and there's going to be 10 songs on there. And so you get a chance to hear one of them today, and it's on all the digital platforms under Tim Motzer, and it's actually at 1K Recordings Bandcamp as well as Rope-A-Dope. I'm so thankful for Rope-A-Dope for, listening to this album and digging it and putting it out. So that's where we are right now. It's like we're real time live, and this thing is dropping around the world. So it's an exciting moment. My first vocal album ever, other than like, the New Cultures band back in 2007, that was the last time that I did any singing, so to speak. So this is an exciting,
is that right?
An exciting evolution for me, just bringing the voice back, and starting to utilize it. Like, I'm been known for primarily being a songwriter and, guitarist and, crazy guitar player, stuff like that. But, it's really great to be writing songs and singing again. So that's kind of where we're at. And, it's like what I wanted to tell everybody, which is fantastic, is I guess the end of 2019, like December, is when I started writing these songs. And somewhere along the way, once I had all my wobbly demos together, I sent them to you. And Brian being my great friend and beautiful mix engineer, and we've worked together on many projects. So would you listen to these demos? Did I ask you if you would mix them, or did I just ask you to listen? I can't remember.
At first you were just like, hey man, just check this out.
Yeah. Is this any good? Anything good on it?
And yeah, you were just like, let me know what you think. And I was it just put an instant smile on my face. The last time I had heard you sing was, I think, when I mixed Shimmering for New Cultures.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, actually, that might have been, when was that? 2009 or 10 or something?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a good 10 years minimum for sure.
Yeah.
And for me, I always liked, hearing that there had been a few before that, but I always just enjoyed that side of you. It's a different thing. And, as much as, I and everyone else loves everything you do with the guitar and other instruments, it's just really nice to be able to, it's just a different side of you. And I think it brings out a lot of things that you have a way of writing that it's very hard for some people who are so good at an instrument to not feature that all the time. And I think you just you focus on the songs so well, like even with Shimmering. And then when I heard these, I was just like, wow. And I know you've said this before, I think with Marcus, I was like, dude, this is your hunky dory, man. Like, it's like, I just immediately felt this transitional thing of, where you were just, I could hear you. I've been in the basement studio many times, and it felt like that. It felt like what you were like, yeah, I just kind of felt the vibe and grabbed the mic and put it on a, pump organ or whatever. And, grabbed a snare drum and all this stuff. And it really just like, I'm like, that should be exploited. It shouldn't be hidden. It shouldn't metamorphosize into something that it's not. And I immediately was just like, this is great. And then that's when you were like, well, cool. Thanks. Do you want to mix it? And I was like, absolutely. So.
Boy, was that a great day. That was truly a great day. And it was like, for me, it was like our reunion too. Not that we were ever, because we're greatest of friends, and it's not like we were ever not linked up, but that day was a reunion of us working together.
Yes.
And
it had been a minute.
And I can't tell you how, 10 years probably, right?
I think it's probably true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, it's like, I just remember us reconnecting and how great I felt to
Me
be,
too.
It's like, and so, this whole record that went down, all these songs, and we were flying, in the midst of lockdown, of course, and Brian's in Florida. So, we're sending files back and forth and, multi-track files, and everything's going back and forth. And we had the best time making this record, and, it's been said so many times, but there's so much love in this record, and this album's about love, and it's about humanity, and it's about family, and it's about all these things. But, we're family, and
and that's where it's at. I mean, that's what makes it. It never feels like work doing what we do, right? But there's a whole nother level, when you're working with people that you love for so long, and that you understand, and you've been in sessions with. So the internet differential, although we would really like to be together, it's much easier for me anyway, when we can just be honest with each other, going back and forth, and we'd have some Zoom sessions and, listen to this, or things like that. But it was very smooth, I think, just because of our history and the love and the and the understanding of what you wanted this to be.
Yeah.
More than anything, that's what it's really about. It's not about what I do. It's about what you did and how you want me to display that, and from a mix perspective, more than anything.
It was funny with this album, though, and we'll get to the song in a minute that's out today. But the thing about this album was, when I was initially recording, when I started to record, because some of these songs were demoed like on my iPhone or something, and then when I'd get to my studio and I'd start building them out, suddenly they would transform into other things, because I'd be adding bass and drums and, Mellotron or something like that. And suddenly this little guitar idea became this kind of full band scenario, and added harmony vocals and, all that kind of stuff. But, some of the songs also just happened from just being in the studio and setting up the gear and starting to play, and things would just come through. And that's what happened with Many Ways Around the Sun. It was that organ, that reed organ that I have.
That thing's so cool.
It's been sitting in my basement. I bought it from the music store around the corner here in Fishtown. Help me out, DePinto,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was sitting there one day, and I played a chord on it, and I'm like, holy shit, I got to buy this. So I bought it. And that could have been 10 years ago when I bought it, or something like that. So it's been sitting over there gathering dust, never used it in all these years. And, because I was in this mode, this framework of like recording songs and writing songs. And, I'm looking around my studios, like what guitar should I use, or what keyboard should I use? And I looked at that on a Saturday, and I drug it over and plugged it in, and it started, and I played a chord, and I played another chord. I'm like, oh my God, the song is actually coming out right now. Right. And I had to grab mics and throw it on the speaker, and I set up, and I just started tracking, and the whole thing just fell out just there. And that whole song was like really rapid, how quickly it went together, and I was grabbing microphones and had vocal ideas and lyrical ideas, just like mantras coming through, and it was an astounding moment, sitting by myself in the basement in isolation, and this whole thing just happened, and so, that's an example of how the recording went down. And I would make all these demos and kind of mix them to the vibe, or maybe not mix it. Maybe that was just the session mix. That's exactly what I sent to you, those demos. And in some ways I felt like that was the vibe. And I think that's what you did, is like you really, really checked that out, but you gave those demo ideas so much love, and you really made it sound fantastic.
Oh,
you
thanks,
know?
man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, it was
man.
there. Like I said, it was already there. It was like, okay, I just was immediately sitting on the couch, like, you know, having been down there so many times over the years, over the decades now. You know, I was like, yep, this is what it's supposed to be. If that's, you know, when you were like, yeah, you know, this is kind of, I was just throwing mics on. I was like, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's not, you don't always have to be in, you know, Ocean Way setting up with, you know, hours just for setup. It's like sometimes that's it. And I really think I was just struck by the sound of what you had done, you know. So I'm glad you weren't too worried about it. You just wanted it to be presented as what it was, and it helped with the end product without question, as it usually does when someone has a vision on a demo or something, you know.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, you did such a great job with just dialing all the sounds in. And, you know, I think a lot of that stuff, because of how rapid some things were recorded and because of the moment, the vibe, you know, I wasn't shooting for perfection, but shooting for vibe, you know, and grabbing a snare drum and hitting it and, you know, laying that shit in there. And it'd be like, well, I don't know if I mic'd it properly per se, but the sound got down. And then, of course, you had to deal with all that stuff.
It was nowhere near as bad as I think you're making it out to be. I thought it was appropriate. It was appropriate, you know, and that's really what counts. Is it appropriate? Is the sound, you know, like if you didn't like the sound, you would have went back and re-recorded it because you were still in that, you know, you were really in the zone that day, obviously, from what you were just talking about. So I think if there was something that was really bothering you, that's the other thing too. There's certain things like, you know, I remember there's a cymbal on the track and there's like a little bit of like digital crunch on one of them. And I'm like, does that bother you? And you're like, no. And I'm like, me neither. And then the more I kind of, instead of trying to meticulously take that out, just listening to the song and the lyrics and like the whole kind of, you know, cosmos thing around the tune, I was like, it kind of gives it like a little bit of space transmission thing. So I like it, you know. So sometimes things are like, you know, okay, yeah, that needs to be fixed. And sometimes it's just like, you know, it's not, leave it. Like it has nothing to do with laziness. It has to do with just if it's right and it's working. And after, you know, you listen to it so many times when you're mixing or when you're just overdubbing, if it's not bothering you, then don't worry about it. Right. Move on. You know? So there's a lot of cool stuff like that.
It's interesting too, working in this way, because, you know, it's like if you're working with a band or you're taking your time with the multi-tracks. With me, it was more of like by myself, kind of producing myself, recording myself, but just really trying to capture these ideas as they're coming out as fast as I can. So, you know, I would have like almost like a feeling of the whole band, you know? So I was like, as soon as I got that part down, then I would hear like, oh, the bass has got to go in, you know, and I'd grab the bass and plug that into, you know, the API or whatever, 1176, and start playing the P bass. I'm like, dude, this is killing, like, you know. And so it was like boom, 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 you know. And then once I got everything tracked, I'd be like, okay, let's see what's there. You know. But it was it was a real rush to get this song done, Many Ways Around the Sun. And I wanted to let everybody know that it's available. I didn't know that until today, but it's actually available at 1K Recordings. Rope-a-Dope, who has put this out, has put it up on my label site as well. You can get it there, and you can also download it at Rope-a-Dope, and then it's on all the digital platforms as well. So, you know, hopefully everybody will get a chance to hear it today, you know.
That'd be great. Yeah, go check it out. That's great that they did that. They're
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you know, it's like working with Rope-a-Dope thus far has been incredible, and it's an honor for me to be working with Lewis. And you know, Lewis is a wonderful visionary, and I've been working with him for years and years because of the King Britt Presents Sister Gertrude Morgan album. And that came out, I think that came out like what, 10 years ago, or no,
Yeah.
2005, maybe 15 years ago.
Wow, is it that long?
Yeah, I mean, that's how fast time is going, and we toured that record around the world, and it's been in a bunch of films, from Miami Vice and a lot of things that happen in New Zealand and Australia. It's been remixed. So stuff from that album is still going on, and there's also a documentary that's being created about Sister Gertrude Morgan, and
Cool.
and certainly about that record as well. So so there's a lineage and a connection with Rope-A-Dope that's beautiful, and it already feels like family. And after running 1K for 20 years by myself, which is it feels good to have a team,
Yeah.
and with you and I feel like we have a team again, and that feels great. It's just everybody needs a team. Everybody needs the support group, so to speak, to really realize stuff, and
Absolutely.
you can't do it all yourself, but I think you learn a lot by trying, and
Well said.
you learn to do a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
that gives you insight when you're working with others and stuff like that. So it's been quite the journey, and here we are, 2021, and
Yeah.
we're still dealing with this crazy world, and I'm just hoping that this song and and this album will help people out in some way. That's really the impetus of it was for us, my girlfriend, you, and as long as we're digging it and we're loving this record and it blows us away, then hopefully others will dig it as well and glean something from it. So
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah, and so excited, and it's just so great to be working on this project with you and others that are coming up now. And
yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike. I'll say that.
the hard drives are filled with stuff, and as you know, in the middle of the night, you're getting downloads from me sometimes, and you wake up in the morning like, what did he send me now?
It's great. I love it. There's a lot been, this has, been done for a little while, and then we kind of shifted gears, and you sent me some more stuff, and we're planning on doing some more. Hopefully now that things are getting a little bit back to normal, we can, think about getting together in Philly, like we used to a lot,
Yeah.
So
is there any news on that?
Soon. We're just waiting for a couple scheduling things, I think. But other than that, soon is the key word for sure. Very soon, actually, hopefully.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, and I know everyone's excited about that because that would involve Global Illage, and it's been we have a apparent 10-year cycle, 10 to 11-year cycle when we do records. So it's that time,
It is that time. Man,
yeah.
Global Illage. Yeah.
Right. And the Orion Tango stuff is going to be great.
Yeah. We're working on the next Orion Tango album that also features Jeremy Karlstedt and Barry Meehan, this power trio, this progressive improvising monster of a power trio. And this next album, Brian is mixing it right now, and he's sending mixes to me, and we're all listening to it and going, whoa, dude, and this is going to be an interesting album. We don't know yet how it's going to be sequenced, because it goes from just brutal metal almost, progressive metal, or I don't know what to call it, but to the quietest ambient stuff you've ever heard, and even I might say jazz, some free jazz stuff, but
it's kind of all over the map for sure.
It's everywhere, like we are.
Yeah, right, exactly. Kind of like many ways is. I mean, that when I think the single is amazing and it has the vibe, but I think when people really get to hear the whole record, they're going to realize it really is a mirror of your take kind of on being isolated, but at the same time, everybody's take, emotionally, there's a lot of different things on there that I think will, should help people reflect and relate.
Yeah.
Which is needed. You know, I think a lot of music is hopefully going to emerge from this and help people kind of process the whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of processing going on and reflection going on in that music, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the great hope anyway. And you know, mostly would love for people to hear this record. So that's why we're here today. And in you know, the end of July it'll be out, and in the meantime you can listen to Many Ways Around the Sun today.
Yeah
It's
going to be great. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too. And Brian, what are you doing the rest of the weekend? It's a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I just realized it. It's like it's a holiday weekend, so I'm kind of I teach audio as well, so I'm online. So I'm just grading a lot of stuff today, the rest of the day, and then giving everyone the break for the holiday, and also gonna keep on keeping on for Orion Tango stuff, get some of that in, and then take a break and hang out with the family and enjoy. It's finally getting to that intensely hot weather down here.
Oh, is it started already?
It's started. It's about, you know, the humidity's creeping up, but it's great. I love it, you know. So we'll probably head out by the water. I'm pretty close to the beach, so we'll do that early.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, you know, so that'll be nice. Take a break from sitting in the room and cranking out the stuff. But yeah, it's going to be great. What about you?
I think I'm heading to the country, the countryside for the next 2 or 3 days, but it's supposed to rain. So I'm going to take a bunch of guitars and recording equipment and probably be recording some stuff out there. There's something special that happens out there. Just tunes are always falling out, so might as well capture them while that's happening. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. Could be the beginnings of the next one.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know. That's right.
So anyway, man, thanks for being on here and just chatting, and thank you so much for the great work on this record. And I'm sure we'll get together again, because next month there's going to be another single release at the end of the month. And that's all I'm going to say for now. And then maybe we'll pop on and talk about that piece, you know.
That would be great.
Yeah. And man, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye, everybody.
And everybody, thanks for tuning in. It was great to see you out there, and check out the tune, Many Ways
check it out.
Around the Sun, and check it out at ropeadope.com or 1krecordings.bandcamp.com. And it's on all the digital platforms too. So thank you. Enjoy.
Peace.
Bye.